living in a world where people care for one another, and the importance of feeling connected that are founded in the earliest
Prince
years.
Harry landed back in Britain this week for what was supposed to be a straightforward run of charity engagements. Instead, his visit has been consumed by two separate and very public setbacks, a chaotic, last-minute withdrawal of an offer to stay at Buckingham Palace, and a sweeping courtroom defeat in his 6-year legal war against the tabloid press. Together, the two episodes have turned a trip meant to mark progress toward the 2027 Invictus Games into one of the most scrutinized moments in the ongoing rift between the Duke of Sussex and the rest of the royal family. A visit meant to be about Invictus Harry, now 41 and 5th in line to the throne, arrived in the UK on Monday to begin a 5-day visit spanning London and Birmingham. The centerpiece of the trip was meant to be the 1-year countdown to the 2027 Invictus Games, the Paralympic-style competition for wounded, injured, and sick service members and veterans that Harry founded more than a decade ago. His schedule also included engagements tied to Wellchild and Scotty's Little Soldiers, two charities he has long supported. He arrived without his wife, Meghan, or their two children, Archie and Lilibet. It had already been reported over the weekend that the rest of the Sussex family would not be joining him for the London leg of the trip at minimum, and whether they might join him later in Birmingham remained unresolved as the week began. Notably, this marks the first time Harry and Meghan have visited the UK together with their children in 4 years, except that, as it turned out, they did not end up traveling together at all. Harry's first public appearance came not at a charity event, but at the London premiere of a documentary called Shoot the People, where he appeared in support of his friend, photographer Masan Harriman. The Buckingham Palace confusion, the accommodation dispute, became the dominant story of the visit before Harry had even landed. According to multiple British and American outlets, the royal household had extended an offer of a bed at Buckingham Palace for Harry and his family, subject to a required notice period so that staffing and hospitality could be arranged. Site Index Psyche 15, one Fearek and Harry's spokesman, said Buckingham Palace requires a minimum notice period to ensure a guest can be hosted and that the Duke had missed that deadline. Cell/Psyche City. From there, the account of events gets tangled. Reporting from Hello. And CNN indicates the offer for the whole family was turned down on Saturday, before Harry reversed course later that day and asked to be accommodated by himself for a single night. By that point, according to a royal source cited by CNN, palace staff said it was too late to arrange the appropriate hospitality and staffing. Harry's team disputes that timeline, saying he had spent much of the preceding week arranging alternative private security after learning his family would not receive UK police protection and only then was in a position to formally accept the offer. Harry's spokesman did not hide his frustration. Site Index 15.1, he called it disappointing that the offer had now been withdrawn, adding that it was unclear why an offer that had been formally accepted would be pulled back at the last moment. /site. The spokesman also raised a pointed detail. Buckingham Palace, he said, had known about Tuesday's expected court judgment in Harry's privacy case since the previous Thursday, undercutting the idea that the ruling had suddenly forced the palace's hand. The palace's own account, relayed through unnamed royal sources to British outlets including GB News, tells a different story. Site Index Kes1611 Palace aides reportedly grew alarmed once Harry specifically requested to stay at Buckingham Palace on the Tuesday night, the same day the High Court was due to deliver its verdict, in his case, against the Daily Mail's publisher. Ed/site. Site Index /one scene, one mind's courtiers, according to that account, were determined to keep distance between the royal residence, the legal ruling, and whatever reaction might follow from Harry.cell/site. The concern, sources said, was constitutional. The king cannot be seen as closely tied to the outcome of a case moving through his own courts. Whatever the true sequence, the palace has confirmed it declined to adjust arrangements on roughly 2 days' notice, and Buckingham Palace itself has offered no on-the-record comment, beyond confirming it would not discuss the matter publicly. A source close to Harry went further, questioning in comments relayed to GB News whether the accommodation was ever genuinely available once Harry actually tried to take it up. The confusion added yet another layer to an already strained relationship. It comes against the backdrop of Harry's long-running dispute with the government's Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures over the removal of his automatic, taxpayer-funded police protection when in the UK, a decision the King has reportedly declined to intervene in, treating it as a matter for the government rather than the family. The courtroom defeat, if the accommodation saga was embarrassing, Tuesday's court ruling was, by most accounts, devastating. Miss Justice Matthew Nicklin of the High Court dismissed, in full, the privacy invasion lawsuit Harry had brought against Associated Newspapers Limited, the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail, on Sunday. The case, filed back in 2022 and finally heard this year after an 11-week trial, alleged that Annal journalists and private investigators had for years used unlawful methods, including phone interception and blagging private information under false pretenses to gather material for roughly 50 articles concerning Harry and other claimants. Harry was joined in the suit by 6 co-claimants: Sir Elton John, his husband David Furnish, actress Elizabeth Hurley, actress Sadie Frost, racial justice campaigner Baroness Doreen Lawrence, and former MP Sir Simon Hughes. Justice Nicklin rejected the claimant's central line of argument outright. In his written judgment, Cite Index/13-1, he found the case invited the court to conclude that because information was private and could not positively explain its source, the reporting must therefore have been obtained unlawfully, and he stated plainly that this was not a permissible approach. Doc/cite. The judge found a shortage of direct evidence to support the unlawful gathering claims, and concluded there remained a real possibility that the disputed stories had come from legitimate sources such as royal aides, friends, or publicists. Annal, which had consistently denied the allegations as baseless, described the result as a resounding win. Cite Index/13-1. The publisher called the ruling an overwhelming victory for the Daily Mail and its journalists, and for a free press more broadly. O/cite. The financial scale of the case underscores how significant the loss is. Legal costs on both sides were estimated by Annal at more than $50 million after years of preparation, and the lengthy trial, costs the losing claimants may now be on the hook to help cover. Harry, in a joint statement with Baroness Lawrence, made clear he felt the system had failed him. Cite Index/12-1. The 2 claimants said they had come to court seeking justice and accountability, but received neither. Cell/cite. Harry did not hold back further outside the courtroom, telling reporters, in a remark Al's side dismissed as inappropriate, given that it was the judge's role, not his, to weigh the evidence, that the trial had reminded the Mail Group who was really on trial. The trial itself had already produced one of the more damaging moments of Harry's legal campaign against the tabloids. During testimony, he denied ever having met Mail on Sunday editor-at-large Charlotte Griffiths more than once, and denied using a particular nickname on Facebook claims that were then contradicted in court by a documented message exchange from 2011 and 2012, which the paper produced as evidence. It became one of several moments cited by commentators as undercutting Harry's credibility as a witness. This lawsuit was widely described as the last of the major media cases Harry and Meghan pursued after stepping back from royal duties in 2020, a campaign that, in earlier rounds, produced real wins. A 2023 judgment against Mirror Group newspapers that awarded Harry roughly $140,000 in damages after the court found evidence of extensive phone hacking, and a reported 8-figure settlement, plus a public apology from Rupert Murdoch's News Group newspapers in early 2025. The Mail case, notably, was the only one of the major tabloid groups that refused to settle, and instead fought the claims all the way to judgment, and it won on every count. What the ruling means for the family rift, the timing could hardly have been more pointed. The verdict was delivered by email at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, landing in the middle of Harry's UK visit and just hours after he had appeared at an Invictus Games Foundation event at Chatham House. Harry has said publicly in the past that his decision to pursue litigation against the press, breaking with long-standing royal tradition of not suing newspapers, was a significant factor in his falling out with both his father and his brother, Prince William. Whether this final defeat closes that chapter of the legal campaign or hardens the family rift further remains to be seen. Royal commentators have also connected the accommodation dispute to renewed speculation about whether Harry and William might eventually reconcile. The two brothers have not spoken publicly since 2022 at the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. There has also been talk of Harry potentially visiting Princess Diana's ancestral home, Althorp House, rather than a royal residence. During future UK trips, a choice one royal commentator suggested would send its own message about where Harry's loyalties currently sit. For now, Harry's 5-day visit continues, with engagements planned around Invictus, Wellchild, and Scotty's Little Soldiers. Questions remain open about whether Meghan and the children will join him in Birmingham later in the week, and whether any private meeting between Harry and King Charles will take place beyond what sources describe as ongoing private conversations between father and son. Buckingham Palace, for its part, has declined to comment publicly on any aspect of the dispute.